Welcome so much to the San Francisco Public Library. This is our final, for now, Returning Citizens Association Building Resilience Summit Series program. We've been so happy to partner with the Returning Citizens Association this year for these wonderful programs. A few reminders before we get started. One is there are restrooms right across the lobby. They are gender-neutral restrooms. There's also some male and female restrooms, one floor up off of the main atrium in the library. This is being recorded, and it will be posted to the San Francisco Public Library's YouTube channel. We also hope that it will be shown on the tablets that are available to folks who are inside the San Francisco County jails. So keep that in mind. We hope that folks will be able to experience this and hear from Returning Citizens Association inside. One of the things that the recording means is that the only voices that will be picked up well for the recording are voices that are right into one of these microphones. So even if you have a question or a comment, please don't call it out from the audience. Please wait. And at the end, we'll pass the microphone so you can speak into the microphone and your question will get picked up for the recording. I'm going to go ahead and start the program with the library's land acknowledgement as we start all of our programs. The San Francisco Public Library acknowledges that we occupy the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. We recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland. As uninvited guests, we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples and wish to pay our respects to the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community. Thank you all very much. I'm going to hand this over to Anthony Partee to get us started.
That's right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Anthony Partee. I want to thank you all for coming and showing your support and opening your hearts and minds to hearing a message that has not only affected those who are sitting up here, but that will potentially affect you in a positive light. You know, sometimes when you see other people struggle, you have the opportunity to gain wisdom from what it is that they went through. They say that the wise person learns from other people's mistakes. And everybody that's sitting up here has definitely had more than a handful of mistakes, you know. And in fact, I'm sure that everyone sitting in this room has had more than a handful of mistakes. You know, sometimes we're just fortunate enough not to have to deal with the consequences of getting caught. But sometimes for some of us, actually getting caught was a blessing. You know, like myself, I'm an individual who just got through doing 11 years in federal prison. And it was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. I know that that sounds crazy because who wants to be locked up and away from their family and their loved ones for that amount of time? But the fact of the matter is, sometimes you have to step off to get back on. You know, you have to go away to come back. And it is those down times in life that actually bring about the good times because life is cyclical. And when you understand the cyclical nature of life, then you understand when you was out there hustling and you was doing your thing and you was riding high, that brought about your downtime where you had to go sit down for more than a decade, you know. But at the same time, you having to sit down and be away from your family and only being able to concentrate in what they call bored. And now all of a sudden you start to do things that you normally wouldn't do. You start to read, you start to get into education and information. You actually start to realize that you like to learn. That this is not something that you have had pushed on you, but something that you actually like to do. And from that, once you get the information, that is something that cannot be taken away from you. You pay for what it is that you don't know. So if I don't know how to change the oil in my car, well, guess what? I got to pay for that. So the more things that I do learn, the more equipped I am to be more prosperous in society. Y'all with me?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, with that being the case, I am going to kick this off by thanking the San Francisco Public Library for working in conjunction with RCA, which stands for Returning Citizens Association. So I always used to say that, and I don't want to go religious, but I always used to say that we didn't float down from heaven in a sense. You know, we climbed up from hell. So we are those individuals who have been through, who have tumultuous pasts, right? But we have the ability of what you call transmutation. Okay, we are those alchemists, those people who can take the negatives of our lives, those hardships, and turn them into things that will help not only ourselves prosper, but actually help the community. And so we want to talk a little bit about RCA, and we can't talk about RCA without talking about our founder, you know, Richard Gaines. He is a wonderful visionary, a man who works very, very diligently to restore the wrongs that he has committed in the community. And with that, we have to give honors to an individual like that. I've said this before, but I'm definitely a leader's leader. And so I don't follow people easily. So if I'm following you, you have to be someone worthy of me following you. And I can say, you know, honestly, that man is definitely that. His work ethic, his attitude, his perspective, his ability to make things happen. That's very important, you know, and I'm sure that this is the same for each and every one of these individuals, because I've had the opportunity to talk to all of them, and none of these people are just anything. These are highly intelligent individuals who have leadership qualities and the ability to make things happen themselves. And so for them to also be willing to follow this man speaks volume about him. We also want to thank his wife, you know, for standing tall with him and also helping the organization, which is very important because we all play a key role in this. You know, this is not an organization that's just about men. This is an organization that is about doing the right thing. It's about restorative justice. It's about bringing about positivity to the community where we find a lot of negativity. So with that being the case, we're going to get into RCA's mission. And RCA is dedicated to increasing the economic, political, and social capital of returning citizens. Who are returning citizens? That's us. If you ever been down, you know, and they try to knock your crown off your head, you know, you're a returning citizen.
That's
and it's
right.
even important for those loved ones, right, who had to stand by the side. Might have been a brother, a mother, a wife, whoever it was that had to stand by you go through those hardships. You know, they're not necessarily returning citizens, but they are a part and partial of the reason why we were able to overcome that. So we thank all of you. But yes, a returning citizen is an individual who is returning back into society from being incarcerated. The Returning Citizens Association is more than a group. It's a community of individuals directly or indirectly impacted by the justice system. Whether or not you spend time incarcerated, the system's reach touches a lot of lives. And RCA is here to help. We provide essential resources, guidance, and supportive community to empower individuals as they rebuild their lives, successfully reintegrate and break the cycles of incarceration. But we can't do it alone, and we need your help and support. For those of you who have given your help and support, we truly honor you. We truly appreciate you, because y'all done got them phone calls and, yeah, mama, I need you. You know, sister, I need you. Loved one, I need you. Wife, I need you. And we can be nerve-wracking. Now being on this side, right, when I get those calls from my homeboys and people in those positions, I say, wow, that jail mentality is something else. We are some selfish individuals, because you actually expect people to drop whatever it is they're doing in the moment and do whatever it is that you need them to do. And that's unrealistic when you have a job, you have children, you got a family to take care of, you got your own life, and you telling me right now, do this right now. That's not how life works. We can be delusional, but then we also have things to offer as well. And so we can offer our people balance, and that's very important. In our right mind, normally, sad to say, but it is in that prison atmosphere that normally we get our mind right. With that, I want to remind us of something before I call Marcus up. So it's raining out here. And it actually was not just raining, it was kind of storming. So you go driving down the street, you see places flooded. Normally this room would be filled to capacity, you know. But I say to you, when the storms of life starts to hit you, right, don't run from the storm. In fact, we have to learn how to embrace the storm. Why? Because calm seas do not make for good mariners. So when life is storming all around you and it's raging and it seems like you're drowning in the cares of the world, if you have never been through anything, it's going to be hard to get through something. Right. But those of us who've been through something, I don't care how hard and difficult it gets, you know what you've already overcome is nothing like what you got to deal with now. So we gonna be all right. And with that being the case, I'm gonna call up our brother, very highly intelligent. He is our youth program coordinator. This brother right here is magnificent. Right. You know, he has dedicated himself to changing the lives of our children, which ultimately will change the trajectory of our future. Because we gotta help the children. And he has dedicated himself to that. He goes into the high schools, into the middle schools, and makes sure that he speaks to them, giving them life experience that they can really get nowhere else. Not someone that's gonna give it to them raw. Not someone that's not gonna cut the corners and just tell them what they wanna hear, because we've gotten to the point where we just allow our children just to do whatever they want. And so now we see the results of that, and that's not okay. Yeah. We have to tell them what you're doing ain't right if it ain't right. That just is what it is. With that, I want y'all to give a warm applause to our brother, Marcus Sanders.
Appreciate you. Thank you guys for coming out. Usually I'm talking, sitting down. My name is Marcus Sanders. I'm an RCA member, also the youth coordinator out there in Butte County. I did approximately 20 years. I've been free for about 17 years. 17, 18. But it was not without fumbles and stumbles, you know what I mean? And like the brother said, when you're sitting up in them boxes, you have a long conversation with yourself. But the majority of the times, a lot of people that's in there doing time, they're not having a conversation with themselves, so that's so they continue to do the same thing when you get home, you know what I mean? It's easy to lie to yourself, and it's even easier to lie to people. You know what I mean? We done told some of the greatest stories on earth to make our people believe that we have changed. But these streets gonna test you. But our thing is that our theme today is we on to the next chapter. You know what I mean? The next chapter in your life, what you want it to be. You know what I mean? And RCA has allowed me to be able to just grow to be a grown man. You know what I mean? It's like I'm one of the best ever did as far as on being able to tell you to spill all of it. My wife would be able to tell you that. What she said, I was selling wolf tickets. You know what I mean? And for sure, my card got pulled. You know what I mean? As far as on every time I thought I had the answer, but I didn't. I came home full of so many ideas, but these streets allowed me to know that I didn't know nothing. You know what I mean? And being that my wife has been free this whole time, I've never took it upon myself to let her lead. I just thought I'm the one, I got it. You know, that's what the streets talk. But I'm like, common sense lets you know that if somebody's been out here doing it for all these years, and here you've been incarcerated for all these years, and then you think you're gonna come out here and tell her exactly what's going on out here on these bricks, and you ain't even been here. So that tells you our mentality is delusional. You know what I mean? When the brother got to talking about people calling from prison, and then had the nerve to get mad at you when you say you can't do it. Right. Man, life is lifing out here. We got bills, we got mortgages, we got everything. We dealing with these kids. You know what I mean? I got 14 grandchildren, 6 grown kids. I've been blessed to, I got one, she's 14 and she's a terrorist right now. You know, but at the same time, it's though we giving them all information that they need and they choose to make their own moves. You know, but us as parents, we just got to continue to be consistent with what we're doing, because the consistency is the key. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that, like you say, these kids, they raising kids having kids. And me watching some of my daughters not take into account the things that got them to the place where they at. I asked my daughter, I say, well, why is you refuse to do the things that your mom do? Just look at y'all doing amazing, ain't y'all? What is wrong with that road that got you there? Now you want to do something different, you wonder why you got different results. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about being consistent as a parent. And me just being consistent as a husband has allowed me to be able to make my wife and my relationship with myself and my kids even better. You know what I mean? And RCA has allowed me to do that. You know what I mean? Just being able to step back and be able to see everything else that's going on around you and what can you do to help. You know what I mean? You know us being in the game, we selfish. We finna go chase this paper down and that's it. You know what I mean? And my folks are gonna eat off of it or they ain't gonna eat off of it. Everybody else, we like predators. You know what I mean? About this money, we're gonna be some predators. You know, that's how we was. You know what I mean? That's what it was all about, because we like money gonna take care of everything. But how you feeling? How you sleeping at night? You know what I mean? Is you when you pumping your gas, you're looking, what you looking at, what you looking for behind you, you know? That's all the stuff you done left behind. This residue of the things that we done. You know what I mean? So it's like RCAs are giving us the opportunity to be able to say, okay, well, I'm gonna take accountability for something we never did. You know what I mean? Because if we was accountable for anything, we would be doing no wrong. Not none. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to even deal with them type of words. Being responsible, being accountable. I got to be held up to my word. You want to be held up to your word to these cats in the streets, but not to your mama and your wife and your kids. When you say you was going to be there to take him to the baseball game, you wasn't there. But the homeboy's having a shing-ding, you there. You done got dressed, you got your bottles, you ready to go do what you do. You know what I mean? Like you said, we want to be in places where I'm appreciated. I don't want to be feared. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in them type of places. That's not who I am. My wife told me something the other day. It's like we got back to the essence of who we is. I didn't know who Marcus Sanders was. That's not who I am. You know what I mean? They called me something else. I don't hear no more, lady, because I'm not down here. You know, it's, hey, Mr. Sanders, hey, you know what I mean? I'm like, that's who I am. You know what I mean? So she say, it's like when you start as a kid, when you a baby, that's who they name you to be this person. And then as you growing in your age, you turn into somebody else. That's not who you are. And then some people never make it back to that person. Now I'm back to Marcus Edward Sanders. You know what I mean? People would say that's your government name. No, that's who I am, and he's an all right guy. You know what I mean? He's an all right person. You know what I mean? He's respectable. You know, he's accountable. You know what I mean? It's like my grandkids can depend on me. We went to a grandbaby just graduated, had a basketball game up there in Chico. She championship back-to-back. For sure, who understands? It's Papa. You know what I mean? Papa in there. Hey, Papa, hey. You know what I mean? Those are what life is about, moments. You know what I mean? We need money to do what we got to do, but life is about moments. And RC has allowed me to get back to that. Even though I've always been a family guy, but I really appreciate it more. And it allows me to be able to say, okay, well, what can I do? And I've always talked about the kids. Right now, I'm dealing with some of the worstest kids in Butte County. They say these are the worst of the worst. But when I walk up in that room, they like, oh yeah, it's a grown man up in here. And they sit quietly, and they listening, they engaging. You know what I mean, with the information, because we talk to them in the language they understand. You know what I mean? It's not out of fear that I'm in there, no, man, I'm talking to you, understand me? You think you slick with all that popping and whip? Oh, I know exactly how to do all that, but I'm gonna put some wisdom in there to make you think about it. I'm not talking to you, you know what I mean? I'm talking to you, I'm not talking at you. You know, this is what I'm talking to the kids. These are 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17, almost 18, with ankle monitors on already. You know what I mean? Hey, man, it's time for you to start taking accountability for your life, because somebody else gonna take accountability for it if you keep playing. You're gonna go knock on them doors, they're gonna let you in. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to give you the understanding that this is happening. Right there in Oakland, and what is that, Martinez Juvenile Hall, for sure ain't got nothing but 14-year-old, 15-year-olds cats, and there was straight murders. Right. You a baby, you don't know nothing about none of this, but you let one of your friends trick you in a situation where as though now you're stealing and you're doing all this extra type of stuff, and you don't think it's gonna happen to you. I didn't think I was gonna sit up in prison for almost 20 years. I cried when they first got me. When I cried. It was 1986. I got caught with some rocks in Walnut Creek. I called my homeboy from jail. Man, they got me. I wasn't mad. I wasn't crying because I was in jail. I was hurt that they got me. Tell me what kind of thinking is that you out there committing crimes that you didn't think that they was gonna get you. I cried. Man, like, bro, so they got me, bro. I mean, just thinking about it, it's like, really? You know what I mean? It's like our mentality. That's a sick mentality that we have, but you have to have that type of mentality to survive out in these streets. You know what I mean? And we were serious about what we was doing. You know what I mean? That's why we were so invested. You can't be half-stepping, the game gonna check you. It's gonna knock you off that pedestal. But my thing learning as me being free for so long, that life keep life and it's gonna be struggles, they're gonna keep coming. You know what I mean? Every day us being returning citizens is a chance for you to go right back to jail. One situation you can rock out here, what's the name? We was in San Francisco, we had an event, Rachel gave us an event, and one of our brothers was on his motorcycle and he just parked in his walk. For sure, a homeless person walked up on him and slapped him beside his head. You know what I mean? We just got out of prison for doing all this time. You know what I mean? That was an instant he could have just went right back. You know what I mean? Yeah, he grabbed her. You know what I mean? But I'm like, we always got to be conscious of all our moves that we're around, the people we're around, the conversations we having. It's like you want to be around good people. Right. Me, myself, if it wasn't for Anthony, the same exact day, I'm walking across the street, some cat said, man, what you, he said, hey, Marcus, brought me right out of it. You know what I mean? Because I snapped instantly. Man, who you talking to? Hey, brother. Oh, you know, your folks, we govern each other. And that's what you need around it. It's out of respect. I respect this young man. Anybody else, man, who you think you talking to? You know what I mean? Now I'm flashing on you, and you. But this is the type of people we got around on RCA's table. That round table got some powerful pieces on it. You know what I mean? We living, we do what we got to do. And it's like our next chapter is continue to do the work that we doing. You know what I mean? And I'm excited about today. You know, it's all about information for us. You know what I mean? I'm being inspired every time I see my people like, oh yeah. We competing to do the right thing. You know what I mean? We competing to see if we can do the right thing. And that's what we own. You know what I mean? This is where we at with it. And we trying to continue to deal with these youth. I'm so compassionate about the youth is that I know you're not built for what they finna do to you. They done took all the pieces out of play for you to be successful. There's no youth authority. So these cats are going from juvenile hall straight to prison with straight predators. Straight to prison. We used to be able to go to Byron's Boys Branch. You go to juvenile hall, you might get to Byron's Boys Branch. Then if you're really messing up, you're gonna go to the youth authority. They took all that out of the way. They moved all them two pieces that was gonna help you get back on track before you went to the big house. Now it's straight from prison. It's from juvenile hall straight to prison. Ain't no in between. They got a yard right now with 16, 17-year-olds that got life. And they just wait for them to turn 18 to put them right across that wall with them predators. Oh yeah, you old enough, bring him on over here. Now you finna be in there with cats as old as your daddy and your granddaddy. And you was a kid. And they want you to survive. They want you to fail. You know what I mean? But I'm like, at the same time, you're gonna listen to them people tell you what you need to do, but you don't wanna listen to the person that's got a roof over your head, making sure you eat every day, making sure you don't want for nothing. They word ain't no good. Oh, but when them people get you, yes, sir, What you need me to do? Yeah, get over there and follow that line. You like this. You like old marching dummies. Like, man, you just was at home where it was all good.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, we gotta make it make sense with these kids, but some of them gonna bump their head. That's just how the game go. But it's so dangerous now that they're losing their life. That's the crazy thing about it. It ain't like when we was kids. Boy going out there, yeah, you gonna bump your head? Come back, ooh, man, it's hard, rough out there, Now these kids ain't making it back.
Right.
That's the scary thing about it. They're not making it back. You know what I mean? And we have to intervene. You know, it's like, okay, well, we did, you know, I come from the crack era. You know, we gonna sell some cocaine. You know what I mean? That's what we did. Now this robbing and stealing and doing all this other type of stuff, it's like, hey man, they got a place for you. And you might not make it back. I don't know why cats be thinking they so hard, man. You go to prison, there's 2, 3 different things. You could die instantly. Disrespect or something, the wrong person, steal something from somebody. For sure you could die that day.
Right.
Quick. Real quick. Stealing and disrespecting gets you killed. He ain't got no choice but to get on you. Because he going to turn into a victim if he don't get on you. You think you built for it, but you ain't. It's like, man, why? I'm like, I don't want to go to nobody's jail.
Right.
I don't want to listen to my wife tell me what to do, but I got to. You know what I mean? I live there. You know what I mean? I got to follow instructions. You know what I mean? So it can be a quiet, safe house. You know what I mean? You got to fall in line. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, man, when we're dealing with these kids, that's why I'm so passionate about talking to the kids, man, and getting more brothers like our brother that's finna come up here to be able to come out the box and be like, okay, what y'all got going on? Oh, yeah, I'm rocking with that. And we can be able to guide him. And he allowing us to be able to say, bro, boy, it's rough out here. But you got somebody you can talk to in the language that you understand. Not when you tell people don't think you weak or nothing. Man, the devil whooping me right now. But I'm 200 miles from home, like, ooh, we're on the way down here. My power done went out. My generator I done snapped the cord, but I got to go get to this RCA event. I'll deal with that when I get back home.
Right.
Because the message is that serious. You know what I mean? I can take care of that. And plus it gives me a chance to breathe. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, the devil doing what he do, but I'm like, okay, ooh, let me shake it off. You know what I mean? But that's from being around good people and having good energy that gets you excited about making a change about life. And it changed my life, whereas though I'm not in the testimony man, every day we dealing with something. You know what I mean? But it allows us to be able to have that format where we can have that conversation. And now it allows me to be able to get in here and talk to these kids and give them the information they need. It's life-changing decisions that's about to be made. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna give you the game that I got. If you don't use it, hey man, that sounds like a you problem.
Right.
But I gave you the pieces. It's the same thing I tell my kids when they grow up. I'm gonna give you all the game I got. If you don't use it, it's not my fault. But I know I done my part. When I left you, I left you better, with better information for you to apply whatever way you wanna do it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, it's so hard. And the work is so grindy. You got to grind. You got to really get in there. Because these kids, I didn't see them disrespecting some of the cats. Yeah, just not listening, laughing while you're talking, all the extra. When I walk up in that room, they sitting there like, understand me, they had church. Because I'm talking what they need to hear.
Right.
And I don't present myself as some type of person who's just gonna be disrespectful to me, because I'm not gonna be to you. We had one little youngster, he had this little fly down. Before we even got into the office, the teacher was late. I'm at the door. I got my book, it's 3, 4 young men, and the door ain't open. You could say he's one of them characters. Oh, man, Miss such and such lied to us. And I looked up. He looked at his partner for confirmation. I said, when did Miss Garrett ever lie to you? He lied. And he looked at his friend like he was gonna be like, he said, man, he looked at, she ain't never lied to me. And he felt, you know, he couldn't get no confirmation of what he was talking about. Same kid, when we walk up in the Western, he got his feet kicked up. This is the first day he in my class. When I walk in, God said, I got something for him. He had a little bench, and it fell. Made noise, the whole class like, man, what's happening? So I grabbed the thing and looked at it. I said, yeah, man, that ain't what we in here for. And he been to class every time after that. And just as quiet and just listening. You know what I mean? Sucking up the information in the game because we got life experience. You know what I mean? I'm 56 years old. You're 17, you're 16. For sure, I know what I'm talking about. Everything that y'all done, man, we done that and some. You know what I mean? That's like I tell you, I'm a real cat. Man, you ain't no real cat until some real shit happen.
Right.
And you may not want to be in that situation. You know what I mean? Or put your people in that situation, or your mom or your dad or something like that. These kids now, like where I'm at, I don't know if they do that out here in the Bay Area. Oh, the kids don't go to school? Oh, they going to go get them parents. The lady I'm dealing with right now, they going to arrest the aunties, the mamas, the daddies, and everything for the kids not going to school.
Exactly.
I say, ooh. I'm like, huh? And the lady that the program I'm involved with, she said she don't like that. She said, but this is what it's coming to. She have to sit on a panel and vote if your auntie or your mama gonna go to jail behind this 12-year-old. They don't care if it's 6 more kids in the house. They just saying, what about this one? So you finna destroy the whole family behind this one kid. You know what I mean? That's why it's so easy for now. I'm always be like, man, these kids are just doing too much and they don't know how to deal with them. Well, there's somebody out there that can deal with them. RCA can deal with them. You know what I mean? RCA can deal with them. You know what I mean? Bring them to us. You know what I mean? Get in contact with us. We know what we're doing when we come to these kids. You know what I mean? Because we're going to equip them with the information and the life experiences that's going to allow them to be successful. Now, what they do with the game and the information, that's on them. But they're going to be well equipped after messing with us. You can guarantee that. You know what I mean? And this is what we're about. But I want to bring up one of our young brothers. He just came home. RC has one of the only programs in California where we mentor people in prison already. Because most cats think they know what they finna do when they get here. You think you know. You ain't been here. I don't care how many books you read, how many people you talk to on the street, whatnot. You don't know what's about to happen. Right. We out here. We done that. We done everything. We know everything that you're going to run into. We know all the resources you're going to need. We know all the pitfalls are going to come your way. And you're going to be to have that conversation with us on Sunday where we get to chop it at the table and be like, yeah, and this is what's going on. And we got brothers everywhere. We everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like you was talking about the young brother, Ricky. I've been knowing him since he was a kid. And if he had 30 Rickies, they'll be all running in place. He know what he very passionate right now. He in prisons in Texas right now. He in the reentry programs. He working, but we in Cali we working too. You know what I mean? And it's like we've been blessed to run into the right people. You know, Rachel always looking out for us, making sure we got the space for us to do what we do, because she understands the program, she understands the need. You know what I mean? And she allowed us into these areas. And it's like we appreciate you to the max. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to say, man, this young man that's finna come up here and tell his story. He was one of our mentees. He was in prison, getting mentored by RCA, one of the best ones. He had Ricky. So you had Ricky, you know he gonna put you to the test. You know what I mean? You got homework, you got man, I'm grown, ain't got no damn homework, what you mean? You know what I mean? I'm walking the yard. You know what I mean? No, Ricky, man, if you want to get in this program, you gotta work on yourself. Right. Cause it's real out here. Anybody can sit up in a cell. You ain't got no bills to pay, they're gonna give you some food, they're gonna do all that. They're going to give you some clothes, socks, and drawers, and somebody else's drawers. You know what I mean? You're going to get all that for the free. But your soul is being left in that cell. You coming out there with so much trauma. Don't even know it. Right. You don't want to be around a lot of people. Man, that's too many people over there. You know what I mean? Because you know when you're in prison, it's lines, and you like this. You surveying everything around you, every move that's being made. Now you're out here with billions of people. You like this, you really in shock. You try not to show nobody, like, heart may be showing, like, man, yeah, I don't like being over here. You know what I mean? It's these little things that we have to deal with. You know what I mean? And it's like the mentality, it takes a strong person to want to change. I did all that time. I just got out from doing 10 years. For sure I must have went back to jail 3 times. Trauma, because I'm stuck in Orville. I work for the fire department. My parole officer, yeah, man, you can't be a firefighter. Y'all just spent thousands and thousands of dollars teaching me how to be a firefighter. I hit the bricks, got a job with the feds, and you say I can't go. Say, man, what do you tell me, Mike? You say, your wife make good money. You could work at McDonald's in front of my wife and my kids. I was like, but then the arrogance in me sent me back to the Bay. Knowing I'm trying, I was gone in a week. Back in the traps. Driving 20 miles like this with a bottle in my seat because I'm depressed. Going to go see my wife and kids back and forth. 3 DUIs in a row. 3 DUIs in a row. Bought my first house, lost it. My wife's laying on my daughter's couch because I done messed up everything from me not dealing with my trauma that I got with myself. She was like, if I knew that you was an alcoholic, we would have been married. I'm like, this is my coping mechanism. I just did 10. You know what I mean? I'm fresh home. I'm trying to get my life together, but I don't know how to do it. You know what I mean? RCA has allowed us to know how to do. We didn't made all the pitfalls, so we could have. Yeah, bro, I did that. All right, yeah, that right there ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? We already got the examples. You know what I mean? We got the examples, and it's like he did the work. You know what I mean? And the work can continue to get done. You know what I mean? Every day is going to be something. The support you need is from you. That's it. You got all the tools you need to be successful. You know what I mean? It ain't for everybody else. They're going to be along for the ride. Right. To watch you shine. I stayed in jail from juvenile hall, man. I was 11. I think I went 10, 11, 12, 13. I just stayed. I just gave all them people my time. My mama was always there. My daddy hollered, you got yourself in, you'll find a way out. You know what I mean? He was that type of person. You know what I mean? But it's like, you then made it home. We all say we want to be here. Man, I can't wait to get out. To do what? To do what? What do you want to get out for? What you gonna do? Oh, so they can see you, shine for a minute, and then back in the box. You want to be here? You want to be somebody in your family that can depend on you? I stayed in jail. My sister and them, like my wife, I went to jail back to back. She was like, you say you love us? How you say you love us? And you went right back to jail. And I could never figure it out. I say, I had to, you know, I'm slick. I'm going to come up with something slick. I'm like, I got to come up with something because she hit me with it. I say, you know what? You know I love my brothers and my sisters. She said, you love your sisters and your brothers more than anything. I said, you think I would just intentionally just lead them out here? And she said, They ain't tripping. You married to me. They like, that's my brother. He gonna go to jail. This is what he do. He gonna come out and ball for about 6-7 months. He gonna stun. He gonna set the whole town on fire. But he gonna go back to the place. We gonna send some more boxes and all of what's name. Now I've been out 17, 18 years. They could call and say, yeah, bro, we planning a trip next year. Like my daddy just said, we're going to Cuba. He said, we're going to go to Cuba next year. I just left his house. They can plan that because they know I'm going to be here. Inshallah, I'm going to be here. You know what I mean? Oh, we got a trip. Oh, he going to be here. We ain't worried about him going to knock on the people. Hey, man, let me in there, man. I need to do 10 more of them years you got for me or the rest of my days. I'm on my I'm in the fourth quarter right now. I'm 56. You know what I mean? So every moment in my life means something to me. And I want to leave something with these kids because they in the time where it's understand me, boy, it's finna get ugly. I'm like, it's genocide on their own right now. They get knocked off the board fast. Every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like the only thing we could do is equip them with the information that we got and continue to give back to the community. You know what I mean? And we need more brothers like this brother we finna have, Jose finna come up here right now, that did the work to come out of prison and say, I want to do something better with my life. Right. And RCA was like, hey, man, we got you. Come rock with us. You know what I mean? We're going to see what it do. In every field you can imagine, we got somebody. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, you did the work, man. We appreciate you, man. And you like for us, is, you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to put no pressure on you, but you like one of our first, you know what I mean, as far as on our success story about our program. Right. It's you. You know what I mean? I don't want to put no pressure on you, but you the success story that we could be able to say, yeah, man. You look at Jose doing his thing. And we like, good looking out, bro. You got to shine like new money. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about RCA as far as giving each other a chance to be able to say, okay, well, man, we're going to highlight each other to the max. We're going to put each other up like this to the max because we deserve it. We put the work in. And every day is something. Every day is something. But I want y'all to welcome Jose. My name is Marcus Sanders, and I'll be back at it in a little while. You know what I mean? But this is Jose, man. I want y'all to welcome Jose to the home and to the podium.
So thank you guys. My name is Jose, but let's give another warm applause for the brothers and sisters here and for RCA, you know, and even for you guys just coming out, taking your time while it's raining and this weather. You guys could be home doing what you guys are doing on this Saturday afternoon. You know, thank you for the introduction. You know, no pressure. But,
no pressure, man.
Yeah, thank you, though. You know, so once again, my name is Jose Ramirez. I was incarcerated for 5.5 years. I got arrested for I got convicted on voluntary manslaughter. And I went all the way to trial. I got blessed. That's all I can say. Nothing I did, really nothing my lawyer did. It's just a blessing in disguise. My lawyer fought. I studied my case. You really in there. You got, like they say, you got all the other BS that goes up inside there you got to deal with. And at the same time, you got to do your own studies. If you don't, you're going to just fall in line. Either follow a person or you're going to follow the guards. Which one? It's up to you. But for myself, it was, man, I'm going to do what I got to do, and, hey, God, I need your help. I left my mom behind, left my kids behind, left my brother behind, my sister behind, I left a lot of people behind, and even some cousins that even looked up to me, I didn't even know really looked up to me, you know, and so it was just like, what do I do now? Like, I'm leaving a negative image of, hey, you can sell drugs. Hey, you could get this woman, she could do this for you. Hey, you can really do whatever you want in an illegal way. You could pick up a gun, you could shoot somebody. Oh, hey, that's what everybody's talking about. That's what everybody wants to do. But reality is, when you do that, everybody leaves you. When you got no money or you got nothing no more to offer, where's everybody at? It's the only ones that really care about you. And that's where I realized, like, people I cared about, they were nowhere around. I'm like, damn, this is what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, but the ones who did care about me, they were here, so I had to change that. So when I'm up in that cell, I'm just thinking like, man, my name is ringing. What do I want to lead now? Do I continue with this? Because in this environment, violence is the number one key. That's the thing everybody wants to do. Man, I'm not going to not do no violence because then I'm soft. Nah, man, you soft if you do it because that's what they want you to do. Right. And it's not just the folks that you up inside there with, because no one wants to do it because they all want to go home, like you're saying. We all want to come home. But it's more the sense of the system. You know, we're system-impacted people. And so we either somewhere down the line, like I could look back at my childhood, a lot of my family members were incarcerated, from juvenile hall, YA to prison. So the way we were raised, it was all through system-impacted political politics. Mm-hmm. And so my mindset is racing now that I'm in here. I'm like, damn, this is where we come from. It ain't, and I got my mom, thank God, man. My mom kept her household slick tight. That's you know, right. We were slick and everything, but, you know, it was real game tight up in there. You know, she's like, no, this ain't happening here. This is getting up out of here. Hey, this person's this. So she really did her job as a parent. Growing up, I got to give her the round of applause for that. Sure. You know, she really did. She really made sure that me and my sister, we really grew up in a functional household that, however she grew up, made sure we didn't have that. Yeah. She grinded, she busted, she did everything she could for us to make sure that, hey, you're right. Like I always told her all the time on the phone, it's nothing that you did, it was the choices I make. Yeah. You know, that's where it comes down to. As individuals, we make our own choices. As we start getting older, you know, you see it around from outside influence. Oh, that's what they do with their parents. Oh, that's what they doing with their aunties or their uncles. Oh, that's what they do with their grandma, their grandparents. I'm gonna come. And I started disrespecting my mom. All right, what's gonna happen? Oh, nothing. Oh, just I already been through that. It's nothing. Then next you know, it comes out to, like you said, we disrespecting everybody who cares about us. But when we go into these situations, okay, boom, I'll give you the respect. I don't like you, but I'm gonna respect you. But then it comes at a later time where like, damn, man, I messed up. But at the same time, as Anthony mentioned, man, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because that's where I really got the sense to see where are my priorities, where are my values, what do I really want to do, what's my purpose? You know, I never knew that growing up, you know, like, what am I here for? Why am I here? Like, I know I want money. Yeah, I want to be successful. Yeah, I want to have all the nice stuff, and I want to be shining. I want all the women. I want everything. But what does that really do for us? And then being incarcerated, it really showed me, like, you know what? I want my kids to have something that I didn't have. And it was, how do I influence them from this? I have a daughter. I didn't want her to think this is the kind of man you got to be with. And then this man's disrespecting her, having her go a different direction. And then I have a son where he's totally opposite from me, and I love it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, as we grow older, I was a lovely little boy growing up. I was bad. I was doing my thing, but at the same time, I had manners I respected, and I was caring. But then as you start teenager and you're getting up, you lose that value. For whatever reasons that it comes through, I know for myself, it was just, I look back at situations that happened when I was like 4 years old. Got impacted by that influence and seeing like, man, you can't trust nobody. You go in, try to help somebody, next you know, you got the police coming and erupting the house. Yeah. When the police come in and disrupt the house and now this house was being broken, you looking as a hero, and then you looking at within myself was like, damn, man, I did this to myself for telling them. Like, man, why did I do that? But then the person, you know, they got saved. So you growing up with this stigma, man, I can't trust anybody. So, you know, I got to keep everything into myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to that. Where it's like, hey, man, look, my mom was always, hey, speak your mind. Freedom of speech. Hey, you exercise it. However you got to exercise, you exercise it. We were never told, hey, you don't say this, you don't say that. Hey, she wasn't training us. She was training us on letting us know our voice has value and its power.
Right.
So it was like, okay, I'm going to say this. And I got myself into a lot of trouble for doing that. I got her into some trouble, you know, for doing that as well. Teachers calling her up, hey, we need a conference. Why is your son saying stuff like this? Where's he getting these stuff from? But it was just things that I idolized. I seen certain things. I'm like, man, I want that glamour. But so, you know, that's a little introduction of myself. As well with RCA, man, I got to say, man, I'm really proud and appreciative of even meeting this organization. Just because the fact is that the things they work for, as Anthony mentioned, they're impacting, you know, to increase more people who are just like myself coming out from prison into being more positive and social, economical, and political. I'm not very political, so that conversation, I got to leave that for the big dogs. For myself, though, you know, social and economical, I can contribute in that. You know, very outgoing, very going, and it's easy to talk to people, easy to reach people. I got it, like they say, our experiences is what everybody wants, you know? And it's not so much about what is good, what is smart, or what's the best, it's wisdom. I'd rather make sure that I could leave somebody with some wisdom, some insight, that they make the choices. And that's what I love about RCA. They're not forcing nothing down your throat. It's, hey, we're going to talk to you. We're going to open your mind. Decision's yours at the end of the day. We already know what it's like because we already been here. We already done it. Now it's just, you can either take the wisdom, and wisdom is you hear something and you avoid it. And you go around. You don't have to go through those tracks. Smart is just, hey, I remember I did this. You know what? I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to try this a different way. You're still doing the same thing. Wisdom is, hey, I'm leaving that behind and I'm going forward. You know what? This person just lost 20 years. You heard in 20 years. I lost 5.5, 11. We want to avoid everybody from losing those and think about how much more successful you could be in 11 years, 5.5 years, 20 years. You could be a lot more successful, a lot more powerful, a lot more impactful, and that's what RCA is doing, is giving this platform not just to the youth, but even to young adults and grown adults, and it's just being here to support them. So, you know, yeah, and, you know, I want to go ahead and just kind of a little bit touch up on, you know, like, what was my purpose? And, you know, for myself, it was, I remember I got a scripture. My mom came to visit me, and it was a pastor from the church that she goes to. And the pastor was visiting her son. And she was like, hey, tell your son Jeremiah 29:11. Just to ponder on that and everything to be all right. Don't worry about buying a lawyer. Don't worry about none of that. God's going to take care of him. I'm in that room with her like, man, yeah, right, man. I want to believe this is true, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's just see. But I'm like, man, we'll keep it on the burner. We'll see what it is. But what that verse is, you know, it says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future. And that's exactly what it is. I got prospered during that time in that cement, in that concrete jungle. That's really where it came through, you know, and it's just knowing, like, the hope in the future is right here today with you guys. I'm 10 years early. Man, I was looking at 50 to life. By the grace of God, man, the prelim judge was like, hey, we don't see nothing for a first degree. This isn't no premeditated, no lying in wait, nothing like that. So you know what? The prelim judge like, we'll bound it to a second degree. In the court, in their language, 187 is a 187. So it got bounced back when I went to trial, back to a 187. So you got the little 995 motions, it goes back to that. So then after that, now I'm in trial, I'm over here like, man, I'm cooked now. I'm sitting there like in my cell kind of hot, like, man, why is this going on? It's showing this, now this language, now it's going back. Like, hey, how's that fair, God? What's going on? I'm over here telling everybody, oh, no, it's cool, don't trip. I'm good, I got it.
Yeah.
But really by myself, man, I really got it. Man, I'm really letting out my emotions. You know what I'm saying? I'm really going through the motions as well. But then it comes to, we halfway through the trial, we get a motion kicked in. The judge tells the DA, hey, man, everything you arguing is a second degree if you could prove that. So when we give instructions to the jury, we're going to give instructions on the 187, but only on the second degree. That's 15 to life. So with the gun enhancement, that's an extra 25, so that's 40 years. So it's 10 years knocked off. So I'm saying 10 years early because the 15 to life. So I got out 5.5, that leaves you 9-some years, really 10 years, say with that. If you go to board, and that doesn't mean you're getting out exactly on that day you go to that board because there's still a process. You could be denied for whatever reasons that people don't find you competent to be home yet. So it's just, I'm early. So, you know, man, I'm proud. Thank God for that.
That's right.
You know, and RCA is part of that, you know, because, so, you know, I just got to give it up to them because they really help me. I'll be on the phone with them. I'll be inside there. I'm meeting Anthony, meeting Naya, meeting Marcus, all on the phone over here, man, they really sweating me. I'm just over here like, man, if I didn't take the time in this process of changing from county jail to get to prison, I probably would have skated. Man, these fools don't know me. Who are they trying to question me? Who are they trying to press? But really what they doing is like they say, they challenging the mindset. They're really seeing like, hey, you for real or you for pretend? Because we got the platform for you.
Yeah.
I did the work before I met them, and I'm still doing the work while I met them. I'm still engaged. They still help me with this. Like when he's talking about, man, I don't want to be here because it's too crowded, too many people. Man, I'm still like that. Man, my mom got mad at me because I told her I ain't going to Costco. Man, I just want to play like I thought Costco was cool. And then now I'm kind of glad I didn't get the Costco card. And that because it's just like, man, it's packed. It's
too
packed
many
like rats up in there, man.
Too
It's
many
cr-
moving
it- you
pieces.
got, and then you see, like even earlier today with my brother, I see it too. Man, people are rude. You know, we're talking about when you're on these yards, disrespect and stealing are the main things that get someone killed. When you got someone who's disrespecting you, you could be walking, they just trying to run you over. It's just like, whoa, excuse me. And that, you know, you see the different perspectives or you see the different mindsets of how people react. So when these people react a certain way, it's just like, okay, I'm glad I'm able to recognize that. Because it's like now today for myself, I'm like, I would have acted like this. Exactly how you acting right now, I would, in my mind, I'm like, I would have acted like that. I understand why. But today is like, you know what? That right there will put me back in the cell. I'm gonna be back in the slammer, and then the judge is gonna be like, oh, hey, so 5.5 years wasn't long enough for you, huh?
Yeah.
Man, you skated on this, but this wasn't it. And, you know, and as well for the victims, like, you know, I could be here talking about I'm glad to be home, but at the same time, I got another family who is impacted by my actions.
Right.
You know, what's it called? However lifestyle you choose to live your life, whether if you want to be a gang member, whether you want to be a drug dealer, whether you want to be on the street corners, whether you got a female doing all the stuff for you, you still got some type of things you got to do, and you got to be rocking. And when you rocking like that, you always looking over your shoulders, you're always looking over everything, watching something, you're always paranoid. And eventually you're going to come across someone who's either going to smoke you or you're going to smoke them. Is what it's going to come down to in the street life. That's all it comes down to. Concrete jungle or the grave.
That's it.
That's
That's the
all
only thing
you
you're gonna
getting
get.
out of this lifestyle.
That's it.
We're looking for acceptance. We're looking for, is that word you just mentioned earlier, validation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those are the main things we look for growing up, or even as adults still. Hey, man, hey, you see what I just did? You seen that? I did that. And what ends up happening? Oh, yeah, man. Hey, this the man right here.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, right here. Man, you don't want to mess with him, then he's,
Yeah. Then they knock it on your door. We
Yeah.
got you.
you know,
He
and
telling
then
on you.
what does that really do for you? But how much more I could tell you when I was in trial, I'm sitting there waiting. There was a guy that really wanted to meet me. He said he prayed to God to try to meet me. I'm like, you pray to God? He's like, yeah, man, you inspired me. I'm hearing that you still rocking, but you were separated from everybody.
Right.
And while you separate yourself from everybody, I'm doing that right now and I'm having challenges. These people are challenging me. These people are over here like, man, like, I don't see why I got to go to another side. I could do this stuff I'm doing. I'm right here. I'm not no threat. I go, well, hey, look, you can stand on your own then. This is what's going to happen. You got to stand on your own. When they pop your door open, you need hot water, go get your own hot water. You need to cook some food, cook your own food. Like, we're not in the same pod, so I can't give you something. And that this is county jail, so it's like, you know, everything's separated. I can't just walk around in Santa Clara County. So I'm from San Jose. So it's like, you come over there, there's 3 pods on that floor, but they're all separated. So the only time you get to interact with them is when you're going to court. And that, so you can't, here's some food for you. Like, when you're in prison, hey, man, I just take it to the yard.
Yeah.
Here you go, boom, man, don't trip, I got you. I look out for you. And there, you're really by yourself. If you want to be separated from everybody, you're going to be on your own.
Right.
And that's just where it's at. And it's the same thing within this life, out here on this freedom. I come home, there's certain people around that, oh, hey, what's up, man? You home now? Oh, nope.
Nope.
I'm home, but I'm not here with you. Yeah. You know, like, and that's where it comes to, you know. And there's certain people that, you know, okay, I can keep you guys around, but I'm not gonna keep these ones around because I know who wants to help. I know who wants to change.
Right.
And I know where, if they could see it play out, like they seen the old style of my way of playing out, they wouldn't be here. Because they're like, hey, if you made stuff happen then, how come you couldn't do it now? It's just like I tell them, it's just finding the networks, finding the resources, finding the support, and building it from there. So I'm starting off, I'm like a baby right now, I'm like an infant. I just got the milk. Now I'm starting to get a little food sped. You know what I'm saying? Pretty soon I'm gonna be walking and start chewing down on some real meat. And so when that comes in, that's where it starts building. It starts growing, and it's even more impactful, just like with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I know you the longest.
Yeah.
I'm a little behind you. So, you know, but just seeing y'all right here, though, is still in 20 years, 18 years, 17 years of being
Yeah.
home. Man, I want to be able to say that. That's a dream.
sir.
Like,
Yes,
man,
sir.
hey, I didn't go back. I went in one time, and I came out one time, and I've been out.
Sir.
Like, you know, that's more or less where it's at. You know, him with the youth, man, I love the youth. I got youth kids. So it's just like, man, like I want to make sure I can help steer them, but as you say, I'm on that same remedy. I can give it to you. It's up to you what you do with it.
That's what you do with it.
And and that's just with everybody. I'm not trying to force you to do anything. I'm not trying to make like, hey, you gotta do this or not. This is what's gonna happen. Nah, cause who am I? The words I hate to use is what you should and why you should do it. You know, like it's not no should nothing. Like I'm not gonna say you should be doing this, or I demand you to do this, or you need to do that. But I could tell you why I encourage it.
Yeah.
I could say why I reflect on this and I influence you on a high level because it's going to lead you nowhere. Everything you're gaining, you're going to lose. You know, it's just like how in the Bible it says, you know, don't store your treasures here on earth because you got the moths and the vermin that will just come and eat it up. Store it in the heavenly kingdom because it's going to be there. So you want your jewels to be somewhere where it's going to stay stuck, and RCA is doing that for us. You know, like, yeah, I have my spiritual, my heavenly walk as a Christian, and I got all that going, but at the same time, not everybody I know don't follow under that. You know, and it's like, I'm not here to push that on nobody, but same thing with that I learned. It's not here to push it on you, but it's giving you the information, letting you know what this is, and here it is. It's up to you if you want to take it or not. But I'm going to continue going my ways because I know my beliefs. Just like everybody else here, they know what works and what don't work, and they know what they believe, they're going to follow it.
Right.
Sometimes we got to unchange our belief systems. We got to unlearn it. And that's exactly what I'm on the course of. I've been doing it for the 5.5 and to this day still. Ever since I hit that cell, it was two things, either rock in all the way and this is what it's going to be, or you know what, I'm going to rock out and just do me and focus on this. God, I need your help because I need to restore my mom, help restore my sister, restore my kids, and restore myself. Like, I could do this. I knew what I signed up for. I knew when I picked up that gun, I knew what it does. Can I do this? Yeah, I could do this. Same thing when it came to selling drugs. Okay, this is the time that you get for this? Okay, I could do that. Everything else I already knew, I looked into, and I asked myself, can I do it when the time really came? If I said yeah and I did it, hey, that's what it was. You know, Mom says, don't call me crying if you ever get locked up. I ain't gonna call you. They didn't call her, she got mad at me. Why did you call me? Why did you do this? You said don't call him. I'm on my own. I told my brother, hey, man, can you go finish this for me real quick? I'm supposed to do this at the house. They're probably going to let me out anyways real quick. I'll be back. Hey, everybody just act normal and just skate up out the house. That's it. She knew something was wrong. For some way, Mom just has those instincts.
Right.
You know, was it cause someone who really cares and loves you, they going to know those instincts on you. And that's exactly what she had. I came home. Where were you? Oh, I was just out. No, you weren't. Yeah, I was just out. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, she over there, she's like, you're in jail. Man, who told you that? Who told on me? I was never in jail. Who's lying on me? And then really she just looked it up and boom, there was my name. and I was just like, man, that's crazy. But she knew where I was at and she said, don't ever do that again. So, you know, it was just like, okay, well, hey, then don't say this. You know, and that taught me a lesson. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell my kids, hey, don't do this, because then if I tell them that, and if they listen, that's my fault. That's not their fault. So it's like, hey, you know what? All I can say is, I'm never going to turn my back on y'all. And that's the same thing even with the youth when we mentoring. The way to really, what I feel like how to reach them is you build a relationship and a bond. I was one of them kids you couldn't tell nothing to because of my prior experience that I had at 4 years old. I said something to you, I see what this happened, and now this switched up on me. My thing was I needed to build trust. I needed to build confidence. You know, what's it called? That was the thing with my brother. I could sit here and tell him anything. I know he wasn't going to say nothing. I tested it. You know, hey, here's a little information for you. Let me see what he does with it. Man, to this day, he ain't told nobody nothing. So it's just like, you know, it's like, man.
Mom
like,
gonna be like, what? Or what he told you. What he talking about?
So, you know, but it came to where you find common like people.
Right.
And you resonate with those common like people. So when you do, now you have yourself that confidence. You have that acceptance. You have that validation. You have the love. You have everything you're looking for that you might not have in a household. You know, because it's kind of like I was just thinking where it comes to when we're at work or we at school, right? It could be either or. You ain't getting at your boss sideways.
Yeah.
You ain't getting at you ain't getting at your coworker sideways, and they irking your nerves. Right when you come home or you get next to your brother, your sister, your spouse, your children, you flipping the wig.
Yeah.
Light switch on, you going crazy. And it's nothing that we did, but it's just, and that's what we tend to do, you know, and it's like learning how to undo that. Learning the tools, and that's what RCA does. It teaches the tools. It gives us skill building on, hey, be mindful. Look at it like this. If this is what got you, speak on it. Address it. There's a way to address, but to do that, you got to be insightful. You got to be mindful. You got to start challenging your thought process. Hey, why are you acting this way? Man, you know, that's a great question. I don't know why, but I'm just upset. Well, why are you upset? You're looking at the core value. What is really underneath the surface? Right. Is it just because the light was really on is why you're really mad? No. The PG&E bill might go up, but you're not really mad at that. There's something underneath that surface that really has somebody upset, you know, and that was my biggest issue. Growing up I was angry. I was mad at myself with a lot of things, but once I learned how to forgive, and that forgiveness was allow me to accept and receive love. You know, and love is what really makes everything stick together. When you have love, you feel love, you ain't doing no wrong. Right. Because you already know, like, man, I did this, man, this person's gonna switch on me. But when you know that they love you unconditional, meaning no ifs, ands, or buts, hey, I got you no matter what. I didn't like what you did, it did hurt me, but I'm still here, I still got you. And that's the type of message that, and what I wanna give to the youth, and just to everybody I come across, is, hey, it's unconditional. I understand this is who you are, this is what you are. I don't judge you. I'm just curious of what's going on. And at the end of the day, I love you. You're my brother, you're my sister. That's it, period. There ain't nothing else to it. Like, and I feel like that's what really makes a change, and that's what RCA is. Everybody accepts everybody here. You could be vulnerable, ain't no one gonna laugh at you. They gonna sit here and be like, brother, keep spilling it. Let it all out. Hey, sister, you on the road. Keep going. Let it keep coming. So that's exactly the platform we have. It's a family. It's not just an organization of random people who just been incarcerated and we all just come together and like, nah, man, I just met them today. I mean, I met them on the phone, but this is my first time in person. I still haven't even met Ricky, and that was my mentor. You know, I came home, I'm like, hey, man, you gonna pull up? Oh, brother, I would, but I'm not in town. Okay, well, hey, man, no hard feelings. You know, well, we'll see each other when we see each other, but just know I'm still rocking.
That's right. Okay,
then, you know, they giving me the time to just get the feel of this freedom. August 31st is when I came home. We're December 14th. And, you know, December 14th is really it's always been a big day for me because, I mean, you say you federal, so it might be a little different, but I'm sure the day that you got arrested or the day you committed what you committed, it always reflect on you when you were inside, like, damn, man, I really did this on this day. It sits on you. What is it called? Marius probably look back the same thing it could be with his situation. You know, today, this is, I want to say, within about maybe 9.5 hours was the day the dude was pronounced dead. So when you get your paperwork and you looking at the time of death, it was like around 1 something in the morning. My incident literally happened around like 8, 9 o'clock at night today. What's it called 6 years ago? And that, you know, and it's just like, man, these days, today always hits me even when I was in that cell. This is my first year being out after this incident. You know, and it's just like, man, like for their family, you know, I'm sorry for taking their loss, for their loved one. You know, because regardless of the situation, of what played out, what didn't play out, that's someone's father, that's someone's son, that's someone's uncle, someone's brother, someone loved one, their friend, someone that they still miss, that they don't get to hear that voice. Man, my family, they still get to hear my voice, you know, but it's knowing that being forgiven is really the thing. Like, I know the family or they his friends might not forgive me, but in due time, you never know what's possible. And when that time does come, you know, even the message is even for his kids. You know, for the kids he got, like, man, you don't need to pick up a gun to try to think it's gonna bring that revenge back. Cause you know, we all have that anger built up inside, and it could be like, man, this fool smoked my pops. This fool smoked my partner, smoked my son. I want to get this dude, you feel me? Hey, they have every power and right to have that mindset. I can't sit there and be like, no, that's the wrong mindset, don't have that. Yeah. Because I know if it was the other way around, and if I was still living my way, I would have that same mentality. So I can't sit here and be like, oh, no, but it's just like, there's other options. There's another way of living that you can still keep that name going, to keep his name going. And so that, you know, because I'm sure it leaves two ways when you have someone where, regardless of the courts and the law says it's voluntary manslaughter, that's your loved one you're looking at as murder.
Yeah.
He was down out, gunned down, killed, that's it. I don't care what the situation was, whether he was right or wrong. My loved one was murdered, and that's it. That's how I see it. I know that's how I see it. So my family look at one of my cousins that got murdered, look at it that way. And their kids look at it like that, like, man, and they still have to live with that. Like, man, my father was murdered. You know what? I never forgiven that man. I see him, this is what I'm gonna do. You know, and it's like, how do you go around and try to implement a change in a mindset like that? You can't. The only way that that could change is within time that they choose to forgive. And once again, it's a choice. We all have a choice, and it's depending on that choice who we want to give or how we want to change. You know, for me, it was just like doing violence was easy for me. You know, what's the consequence? This? Okay, that's it. I'm already here now. What else? Okay, move up, go to a hole.
Yeah.
Now I got a rank. Now people know me. Now I can say I'm this, I'm that. But what's that? What does it do for you? What does it do for your family? You can't be accountable. You can't be whole for nothing. And you on that phone call, hey, can you do this for me? I need that right now. You still.
What y'all eating this Thanksgiving? Did they cook some greens? Did they cook some this? Did they do that? You know what I mean? You calling, asking all these questions. You know what's going down, but you
Yeah.
ain't there.
So, you know, and you miss all that, man. And honestly, man, it's I gotta say this though, like inflicting pain on somebody, at one point you get numb from it. And you could just like, it's just like anything. You do something one time, your mind starts getting kind of, oh, they know, they see, no, it's just like, man, who cares what they know? It is what it is. Like, you numb yourself to that. You normalize that behavior. You normalize the actions. And so it comes to where it's just like, I don't want it to be normal no more because I wouldn't want my kids to go through that. I don't even want this man's kids to go through that, to think it's normal and to be like, hey, this is what life is, so this is what I got to do now. Now I got to start carrying heat. Now I got to be doing this. Or who knows, they might be feeling they have to fill their daddy's shoes. Or my daddy might have lived a lifestyle like this, so I got to do that. You know, and it's just to reach out and just saying like, hey, man, there's options and there's choices. There's nothing wrong with being a professional. Man, I'm over here getting juice trying to dress like this now. I always used to say, man, I ain't trying to be the man in the suit. Don't be the man in the suit.
That's right. And you look good in it. You look good in it.
Yeah, you know, it's like more like, man, I ain't trying to be the man. Square. I don't want that. Man,
All the squares in there. All the hip guys out here.
yeah, you know, and you learn the opposite of it. So it just comes down to where, you know, I like the buzz down. But you can still be buzzed down like this.
Yeah.
You can be buzzed down with a turtleneck.
Right.
And have clothes that actually fit you and you're not looking all sloppy and like, you know what I'm saying? So that's just the thing for me on that little part. And then personal choices. You know, my environment is one thing. We have a lot of people who grow up in these poverty environments. But at the same time, it's a choice that we make. I remember I met the DA of San Francisco. And she even mentioned it herself. Yeah, I got friends that grew up in the hood. I was right there with them, but the choices I made led me over here and where she is. She's the DA of San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And that's where it comes down to just personal choices. We get to choose. You don't say I'm a product of my environment. Nah, I'm not the product of my environment. The environment is my product. Whatever I put out in that environment, that's what they gonna eat.
Right.
I plagued it with nonsense, and people were eating that nonsense up. And I'm gonna plague it with the great and positive stuff, and there's gonna be people who eat it up, and there's gonna be people who spit it out, people who don't even wanna eat off the plate. That's not my choice. That's on them. Same thing when you give them the negatives. You feeding them drugs. Not everybody wants to do drugs.
No.
So everybody's gonna be like, oh, I'm cool, I don't want that. Hey, keep that person away from me. We don't want him around. It's the same thing when you do positive. Hey, keep him out of here. We don't want that. Hey, man, they did that with one of my cousins. My cousins turned Christian. Hey, man, get him up out of here, man. He's coming, man. Let's all leave. Everybody wants to walk away. You know, but then it's just like myself, it was, hey, man, I'm staying. What's it called? So it was just, you know, I want to leave it with that. And then, you know, I just want to say once again, you know, personal choices. What you choose to do, it could be your last, or it could be a next step to something that you really want to do. However you want to lead that, that's where it comes down to. You know, let me see, where is it at? One of the key lessons I want to say before I go right now is, what I learned from this mentorship is being organized, planning ahead. you plan it, you can succeed it. But just knowing that it doesn't always fall that way. And that was the main thing I took from Ricky. I think you were on the phone with us too that day when he was like, prepare yourself for the unexpected disappointments.
Right.
Man, I have a lot of those today. I had everything written on paper, and there's some things that just still ain't fall out. So, you know, it's just being prepared. How do I bounce back? Because it's easy to fall back. Hey, hey, man, what's up? I need this. Can you just help me out so I get this? But it's like, you know what? I'm gonna sit in it. I'm gonna accept it. I don't like it, but I'm gonna accept it. And accepting what you don't like, that discomfort, that's what brings the growth. And the last thing I'm gonna say before I go ahead and pass it back is, you know, resilience isn't about never falling. It's about rising every time we do. Life gives us second chances, not to erase our past, but to create a future stronger than we ever imagined. You know, and when I was writing that up, one more came to me, right? And I liked them both.
Yeah.
So I had to say this one, but it's like this. We all hear this one. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Resilience is strength to rise again. And that's what we doing. We rising. You've been rising for 18 years.
Been falling down too.
You know, and it goes, and second chances are the gifts that allows us to become the best version of ourselves. So this second chance that I had today, man, just, I'm better than I was yesterday. And that, you know, and that's the same thing for all y'all. You guys are all better than yesterday because you guys are here breathing.
That's right.
You guys make the difference in your own lives. It's on the choices you guys choose to make. You know, you guys have a good one. God bless, and thank you guys for coming.
I want us to, we about to take a break here, but I want us to give Jose another round of applause, please. And before we do take this break, I want y'all to give his mother a round of applause,
right.
please.
That's right. That's right.
It's a beautiful thing to be somebody that's super active in the streets, and most of us know what that entails.
Right.
And then, you know, all of the negativity that people speak about you, we become infamous, right? We're famous, but in a negative way, right? We become infamous. And now you've embarked upon a path where your mother can sit in that seat, right, and record that video of you and be proud of you.
Right.
Can't wait to go show that off to the world. That's a beautiful thing,
Yes,
man.
sir.
So let's give her another round of applause. Man. You know, with that, we gonna come back. We got a little more for y'all, and then we're gonna open up this panel discussion. We also gonna have another individual come bless us with some of her wisdom as well. We are appreciative of all of your attendance to this Building Resilience Summit Series. This is Act 13, and we are speaking about the next chapter. And this is a powerful subject. The reason that it is a powerful subject, because we all have power over the next chapter.
Right.
You see, life has its way of dictating things to you, but if you understand who you are and your power, then you will recognize that you are the author of your book. You get to decide through your actions what your next chapter will look like. See, some of us, we have these grandiose ideas, yet we are unwilling to put in the work to actually bring them about. And we are afraid to fail. And what is fear? Fear is an acronym that stands for false evidence appearing real. You think that you cannot accomplish something, therefore you cannot accomplish what you think that you cannot accomplish. Delusion sometimes is a good thing, especially in the realm of success. Because most people that we see in entertainment worlds or athletes or, you know, and I just use them because they're public figures, it's very hard to go on and do some of the things that they've done. Yet the fact remains that they worked hard and they were delusional enough to believe that them over everyone else would be able to achieve what it is that they achieved. And so that is very, very important. So being the author of your next chapter, we have to start here. Everything starts from a thought, okay? Thought is the cause of it all. Your thought controls your actions because you acted a certain type of way because you thought a certain type of way. Once you think a certain type of way, you will produce a certain type of actions, which will produce a certain type of behavior. The behavior is a repeated action. Constantly doing the same thing becomes a behavior. And those behaviors subconsciously start to create your destiny. So this all stems from a thought. How your future is going to look stems from how you think. And so, being individuals that we are, we have had past where we have had to interact with gangs, where we were a part of gangs, where we were part of organizations, where we were out in the streets doing certain things. And I want to remind you all that are hearing this and watching this, sometimes things may be conveyed to us in a manner in which they're supposed to be positive for us. But we just got to get to the nitty gritty. If that thing is ultimately taking you away from your family, you know what I mean, and stopping you from being with your loved ones, then you have to decide if that's really best for you. Because the consequences of that type of lifestyle, being in the streets, is real, man. When they tell us that the answers is only death in jail, that's real. And I don't care if you become the big homie, because most of the big homies is locked down, 23 and 1, barely getting to get out. They in shoot programs, they in all type of situations that they don't even want to be in once they start to look back on them situations. Families is gone. You lose loved ones once you get in this situation. But if you think that you about to be out committing crime and doing things and things aren't going to happen, yeah, you tripping. And most of us, we don't really want them consequences of them long years. Yeah, I done did it. That stuff hurt, man. That stuff hurt. Yeah, you be all right for a second, but you be to the point that they give you so much time, right, that you can't even see yourself getting out of there. I remember when them people gave me 15 years, and that's a date. Yeah. That's a date. Mac Dre used to say Buck Rogers. Yeah, I'm back in 2012, and you telling me I'm about to be getting out 2026, 2027. Huh? I can't see that. I'm 26 years old. I can't see 15 years from now. I barely lived 15 years. So we have to understand, man, the consequences of the streets are real. And so your choices, the way you think, is going to decide how your future looks. If you okay with them consequences, which most of us ain't, it sound like you okay until you have to deal with them. Because you don't know the other piece. See, everybody make jail like it's cool and it look cool, but you don't know the other piece. When you go in there and you got to get into it with people over a sale, when you have to get into it because your homie getting into it over some stupid stuff he did, like owing somebody some money or something. Like, it's those type of things that you never think about, or having to be in a race ride when you ain't got no type of racial preference, you ain't tripping on nobody or none of that. But the fact of the matter is, because you look a certain type of way, you have no choice but to get involved. And guess what? Everybody don't make it out of prison. Yeah, we made it out, but everybody don't get to make it out. Each and every one of us know somebody that didn't make it out of them situations, probably of quite a few people that came in and didn't get to go back out. So I just say that because I want you to understand that the choices that you make are serious and don't take your choices lightly. With that, we're going to lighten the mood, right? Because we have a sister that is going to come up here and give you a portion of her wisdom. She is definitely a member of RCA, been holding down individuals, experiencing incarceration through the lives of other people, but also helping steer those people in the right direction. She works directly with the system-impacted community. And so therefore, she know how to help you stay out of trouble. And for some of us, that is a problem. And so with that, we go call our sister up, Nina Clark. Give her a round of applause, please.
Thank you, guys. I'm glad you guys came. Even though it's just a few, hopefully this will resonate with somebody today. Yeah, my name is Nina. Well, my real name is Edith, but I use I use Nina. I've been impacted with system impacted people all my life, like starting with my brother who started getting in trouble at 12 years old, and then eventually when he turned 18, going to the pen. And, he came home, and the first thing he did was come home and make a spread. And I was like, ooh, this is good. Not knowing that was jail food or whatever. I didn't know that was jail food. But yeah, my brother started off with him going in and out of jail, at a young age, and then eventually going to the penitentiary. So I grew up with that. So that's really what all I knew far as people, and eventually I started having boyfriends going to the penitentiary back and forth. I have one now that's in the penitentiary. Hopefully he'll be coming home soon. And people always ask me, why do you deal with somebody that's in the penitentiary? And my answer to that is some of the best people that went to the pen are good people. Just because they in the penitentiary or in jail don't mean they not good people. Take a look at my panel. They're good people. So don't miss your blessings.
Say that again.
Don't miss your blessings. So I'm waiting patiently because I feel it that Kareem is a good person. So with that being said, I'll just give you a little background on me. I grew up in Oakland. I thought when Oakland was good. Well, it was good back then. I grew up in the 70s. And great neighborhood, very diverse. We grew up in a nice house. We had 2 kitchens, 2 bathrooms, nice house, very diverse. We had Asian, we had Latinos. So that made me resonate with everybody. Like, I don't see no color. Like, I get along with everybody, and I'm glad that we had such a diverse neighborhood, because it's not just about black and white or whatever. Grew up there, but one day my mom came, and let me tell you, I had 3 boys. My mom had 3 boys, 3 girls. They called us the Black Brady Bunch, and it's ironic that I have a brother named Greg, and I had one named Peter, who succumbed to cancer at an early age. And I think that's when I kind of like shut down, but I'll get to that story. And I was a pretty good kid. I was inquisitive. I asked a lot of questions. I went to school, did my chores, pretty good kid. And then my mom came home one time, and she said, the landlord, he's selling the house, and I have my voucher, and we have to move to the projects. Now, I done watched The Untouchables. I don't know if you guys know The Untouchables, but I used to watch that. And then we used to hear about the village on TV. Like, it was so famous or infamous, like Anthony said, that we was like, I was kind of intrigued by that. All that was going on back then in the village. San Antonio Village was also known as the Ville. And me and my brother Peter, we was kind of happy. He was like, yes, we moving to the Ville. We was excited, but my other brothers and sisters weren't so excited about it. They kind of like had a little fear. But like I said, I asked a lot of questions. I was intrigued. So we moved there. But before we moved there, I read a lot. I used to read all kind of things. But what intrigued me was reading about the game and all that. So I took to Donald Goines' books. I read Pimp and all that. I'm like, shoot. So when I got to the village, I had a little bit of game, little bit. But soon as we got to the village, I'm like, wow, this is like a whole new world to us. Like, it was going down. Even though Felix Mitchell had just got arrested, it was still going down. I'm like, oh my God. And I was still so intrigued, to the point I started working at Eastmont Mall, and it was fun. That's when Eastmont Mall was popping back then. And I worked in the cookie place, and everybody used to come through. Like, if you from Oakland, you know these people, like Too Short, Frank the Bank,
Mr. Z's was
yeah, Mr. Z's, all that. It was popping back then, and I was right in the middle of it. And so it was security guards. They some of them was moonlighting, because some of them were police also. And back then, I was popping. And they and one of them was getting at me. Now I'm 18. I'm young. I think he was like 30. And he was getting at me, and I'm so green back then, so naive, and I'm like, oh my God, he's a cop, blah 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 blah. Wasn't thinking about nothing. So he used to pick me up and drop me off in the police car in the village, and I'm so naive, didn't think of nothing. So one of the guys came up to me. He said, you gotta have a meeting with. You got to have a meeting with Vito. I think that's who took over after Felix Mitchell. He's like, you got to have a meeting with Vito. I'm like, why? He was like, they think you snitching. I'm like, are you serious? They want to do something to you. And I'm like, I'm not snitching. He say, well, you having this cop drop you off right in front of, in the village in a police car. And I'm like, and I thought about it, and I'm like, that is crazy. I said, you cannot drop me off. You can't drop me off no more. And I found out that he was trying to use me, but I definitely was not snitching. But I talked to Vito, and he was telling me, yeah, this person, he asking questions. I say, well, I just moved here. I don't know nobody here. So peer pressure, in order for me to get them off my back, I started selling dope and started doing stuff that I normally don't do. And then my brother, the one who was being in and out the pen, he came home with a money order machine and said, hey, I got this money order machine. He had hooked up with the BGF and all that. He said, I got this money order machine. And I'm like, he said, we can go into banks and get money. And that's what I did. And it was like an adrenaline to me. And I'm like, damn, this really worked. But my dumb ass was using my own goddamn name. Dumb criminal. And I was using my name, but I was so pumped. I'm like, man, I must have hit every bank in Oakland. And I was still working, though. I did always have a job. So one day I was at Denny's, and I think my mom or my sister called and said, Nina, the police, somebody came in suits looking for you. I'm like, what? She said, they on their way to Denny's. I said, hey, y'all, I gotta go. I gotta go. And they came, but I had already left. She said, so my coworker said, yeah, they surrounded the place and everything. I think I ditched them for a couple of months, because they came to my house again, and I went out the back door and ran upstairs. How they got me was, back then, you couldn't use the red BART tickets that you use. Those were only for disabled, and I had used one. And, they took down my information, and they was nice. As soon as they found out I had a warrant, they say she has a warrant, they had a whole different attitude. So that was my first arrest. But of course, it was like a slap on the hand. And I got out and started doing things to make money. I'm like, going in a bank, that was easy for me. So I just started doing that, passing fraudulent checks, fictitious checks, and it was working. I remember one time we had got these lawyers' checks, and we must have banked on that for about 3 months, And that was my thing every time. One thinking about no consequences, one thinking about the victims, we done stole their identity, one thinking about any of that. Just was pumped up for the rush. And so one time I'm like, I'm always in a bank. Why don't I rob one? So that's what happened, with some incur. I had a homeboy who had got out from federal pen from doing time for robbing banks. And I was just pressing him. Just tell me. It was like a fantasy to me. I'm like, just tell me what you do. What do you do? And I was listening to him. So I went in a bank with a note. And well, the first time I went, my homegirl, she worked at a bank. I'm like, so what do y'all do when somebody robbed a bank? She's like, we gotta give them the money. I'm like, And so the first time, it worked for me. I'll say that. The second time, not so much. So I went in the bank. I gave the dude a note. It was this Latino guy. He looked at me. He said, you don't look like a bank robber. And I'm trying to put on my poker face. And he was like, no, something ain't right. And he went to the back. And I'm standing there like a fool being greedy. And I said, oh, he not coming back. And so I walked out, and they started following me. The police came, rolled right by me. And then they say, that's her right there. I couldn't really run because I had on some sliders. And that's what happened. So I ended up getting arrested, and they was trying to tell me, well, who put you up to this? And I was like, nobody put me up to this. Anyway, I did. I could have went to the feds, but I didn't because, fortunately for me, the bank wasn't federally insured at the time, and this was Bank of America. So they said, we're going to give her a year. I did 9 months in Santa Rita, and it really gave me time to reflect on a lot of things. Like, you don't have nothing but time, so all you do is think, reflect, and, what do you want to do with your life when you get out? Like, I don't want to go back to the same thing I was doing, and of course drugs was involved. And so I had a lot to think about, but while I was in there, I will say that I didn't have to need for no commissary or nothing because I was good at writing. I write poetry, I write letters. So I did a lot of writing for the other women, and they was like, oh, can you write me this? Can you write me a poem for my boyfriend? I can't. So all of that, I did all of that. So commissary wasn't a problem. The problem was like when my mom came up to see me and I couldn't go home with her. And I'm like, this is real. Like, man, and I hated to see her leave. So after that, I didn't want any more visitors. And I'm like, I don't never want to have this feeling or do this again, My mom was the only one supporting me, which, where's your friends at? Where are all your friends? Ain't nobody but your mother that's going to support you. So I got out, and I said, I know they say never. I got out, and I said, I ain't never coming back to, because they call Santa Rita like the baby pen. And the judge had told me, if you are in my courthouse again, you're going to the pen. And I heard so many stories of women raping women in the penitentiary, women looking like men. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. So I stayed on the straight and narrow for what it was worth. I got a job, got jobs. I always worked in the community, in the field. And got me a good job working at Felton Institute or Hospitality House, and I did that for a while, but I still really didn't have no money yet, and I was still kind of dibble and dabbling, One job I had, I was working at the parole office, which was wonderful, through Basin Bay Area Service Network, and I used to go on my lunch break and go bust checks in the bank. One time I came back, and it was all kind of, they was like, hey, Nina, come in here. All kind of police in this room, because I think one of the parole officers was retiring. And he's like, come in here. We having a celebration. Man, I was sweating bullets. I was so nervous being around all those police. But, I'm like, listen, I got to get my stuff together. I need to do something. So I was saying, let me sign up for one of these. Well, when my job asked me, hey, Nina, you want to go to school? We'll pay for it. It's a cohort. I wanted to go for community health worker, but they had something different. They said you could get your drug and alcohol certificate. So I went there and I said, well, I guess I can study on that. I did drugs. I might as well know about them. And so I did that, and it was good. It was good, and it was hard for me because at that time my mama had cancer and she was sick, and it was hard. I don't know how I did it, but I finished it. You know, my mom passed away, and that was just like, I never was the same again after that. You know, it's just something about your mom. You know, that's your best friend. And but I got through the college. I graduated, and I was so mad at the time when I graduated. It was the pandemic. I graduated in 2020, and there's nobody. You couldn't walk across the stage, because for me that was big for me. I had got kicked out of school, but I did get my GED. But that was so big for me to graduate from college and then nobody to be there because of the pandemic. So I didn't get to walk across the stage. So I am going to go back to school and work on my BA and my master's and all of that. And I'm so excited about that. I wish I could just quit work and just focus on school. Because I did it. I did work and I did school, and it just tore me up. I was so tired. But I'm glad I got through that experience, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm still working. I'm in the field. I don't think about crime no more. I don't care how broke I am. I'm not going to do anything to get me going back to jail. I haven't been in trouble since 2005, and I'm not going to. I don't want nothing to do with the police. Nothing to do with the police at all. Unfortunately, I had to interact with the police the other night regarding my nephew, because he decides he want to come home anytime he wants to come home at 9 o'clock, and had me worried. And I'm like, well, damn. So I had no choice. I had to cover my butt and call the police so I can make a police report, you know, because this world is crazy out here. Kids get snatched up all the time. And, you know, it pissed me off. So they were still here when he came in, and I'm like, where the fuck you? And they was like, hey. I'm like, y'all don't live with him. But they took him outside and talked to him. But, you know, that's the challenge, you know, and I'm going to say, God is not done with me yet. He's still working on me. I don't have any kids, so this is a challenge for me. God is still working on me. I am not perfect. You know, I done things. I'm not perfect at all by a long shot. So this is really a challenge for me, but I'm trying my best to get him to understand you have to, you know, listen to the people that's been there before you, that's been there, that's done that. You're not doing anything slick at all. So that's what I'm going through now, but I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm trying to save his life, and I hope that he listens. And that's where I'm at now. As far as RCA, I've been there since day one, and I love them to death. Ricky, he came at me. Ricky used to work with me. I was so mad when he left, but he worked with me. He said, Nina, I'm doing this. I'm like, count me in. You know, and he was talking about the magazine then. We finally worked on it for 2 years, finished the magazine, and Ricky and his wife is great, Andrea. They do a lot of things within the community, and I'm glad I'm in this organization because I done learned a lot from you guys' stories. I love hearing other people's stories. You know, people have their own story. You can't walk in nobody else's shoes, you know, unless you've been there. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you for listening.
All right, Nina the bank robber. You should have seen that look on my wife. Nina. No, not Edith.
Hey, the beautiful thing about that, right, is when we talk about the next chapter, we talk about the book of life, we understand that you cannot judge a book by its cover.
Right.
And so you never know who people are, what they have experienced, and what they can give to you, right, through their experience. So in us getting to the point where we are going to wrap this up, we usually do some form of panel discussion where we give the audience and the attendees the opportunity to ask questions. You can ask questions to any one of us. You can ask questions to all of us. And so if you have any questions, definitely feel free to ask, and either come to the mic or Rachel will come to you with the mic so that you can be heard properly. And so with that, we are opening the floor for discussions. If anybody has any questions, just raise your hand and we will facilitate that for you.
Don't be shy.
Okay, that's right.
We're open books up here. At least I am.
Except chapter 12. Don't ask about chapter 12. That was.
Okay, I have a question. First of all, thank you all for sharing so much of your stories. Jose, how did you find out when you were inside about Returning Citizens Association and their mentorship, or how can other people find out about that?
That's a great question.
Thank you for asking that question, because while Naya was up there talking about RCA, I'm thinking, oh, I forgot about that. So I'm glad you asked that question. But I found out through him by the transitional teacher that I was in a class with named Phil Leonidas. So I was letting him know, like, hey, I was letting him know what I wanted to do when I came home. Because you guys said, we all want to come home. So I was like, hey, do you know of any organizations that work within the community that either help, serve, giving back, or work with youth? Because this is what I want to, like, look for this platform. I don't know where to go. So he was like, you ever heard of Returning Citizens Association? I was like, no, who's that? What's that? He's like, pulls it up on his computer, shows me. I'm like, I go, they got an application? He's like, oh yeah, let me print it out. So he prints it out, I write it. I fill out the application, I give it back to him. He sends it directly to Ricky in the email. So I'm just waiting, and inside there, I'm like, man, I got no address. Who am I gonna? So I was like, you know what? We got these tablets. So the tablets, I was able to put the GTL getting out and have them to respond to me that way through a message. And then I put my mom's cell phone number at the time, so if they couldn't reach me on that, they at least had an outside number. And I know I call my mom almost every day, so it was like, you know what? I know she'll relay a message if someone reaches out. So that's how that happened, how I got into connected with RCA. So then it was, I got an interview. So they sent me a message saying, hey, call at this time if you're able to for an interview for the mentorship program. So I'm the first mentee, they said. So as me being the first one, I'm like, I'm not knowing this at the moment. So I'm just thinking, oh, maybe they've been doing this for years. I don't know how long they've been doing it. Then it comes to find out, you know, he was incarcerated for 24 years, got out 2019. So when I'm going in, he's just getting out. 5 years later, this is his organization. This is where we have. We all have this platform. This is what he has created. And so when he's telling me, like, yeah, I've been out only 5 years, in my mind, I'm like, 5 years, you got an organization, you talking about a magazine coming out, you talking about you want me to write for a magazine? I'm like, this is dope. Man, I want to be a part of this. So I'm like, man, okay, hey, sign me up. I'm going to send you a schedule. These are the days that works for me. These are the times. So that's how I got with there. And then it comes with the application of RCA, right? I know you asked him about how did I get involved. So this was even more was I'm asking them questions. They over here trying to help me. I'm like, man, how do I help y'all? I want to help you guys put this up inside here because there's people in here who need this. And there's men in there, and probably women as well, who are incarcerated, don't like to attend these groups inside prison because it's just like, man, all these people are bogus. Man, the people, because you're being facilitated within your incarcerated population. So it's the incarcerated people really helping the incarcerated. You have outside facilitators, but these outside facilitators chooses who's going to facilitate these groups, and you see the way they live. So it's like you're incorporating something, but you're not following through with what you're incorporating. So then it was like, I'm talking to them, and I'm hearing what they're saying, so I have pretty good discernment. So I'm talking to Ricky. I met Naya on there, what's it called? And it was really Ricky, Andre, and Naya were really the first ones that were really always on the phone calls. And then I met Marcus on the way, and then I met Anthony on the way. Naya used to be on the phone call with us mainly all the time. So she's over, hey, you think of, what do you know about this? So she's asking me questions as like, well, you inside there, right? what can you pretty much do inside that you would do out here? And what I mean by that is like, if you're in a conflict situation. So I'm like, okay, I'm not out there, so I can't think of conflicts of what can I get involved in outside, but it's like, what can I do in here? Because their questions are for the outside world. I'm inside, so whatever you guys are asking me for outside, I can't really relate, so I would take it to, how can I do it in here? And so it was like, you know what, let me sit down and think. I'll get back to you guys in a week. So it was a weekly mentorship program. And I got connected with them, I believe, in January, February of this year. So, and I just graduated through the mentorship program. So now I'm becoming a mentor. So the men that were inside the prison with me, I'm answering their phone calls, and now I'm relaying, and I'm giving them the real life experience of, hey, this is transitional. And with Phil, that's what he was doing. He gave us package. You have a 5-packet course you got to do. And it gives you everything from your housing to job searching, resume building, finance, learning finances, how to budget and everything. So some of the stuff that we're doing today with the mentees, they have some of that, but not everybody is able to go to those classes. So, there's waiting lists and everything else. But with this organization, I was like, you want one-on-ones? You want people who really care, someone from outside that will help you, but you got to help yourself. If you're not willing to help yourself, I'm not going to pass this knowledge, because it's just like you're going to be wasting their time. Ricky said, he told me straight up, hey, are you willing to volunteer? Meaning there ain't no income at the moment for this if you want to do it. Yeah. Man, I'm getting paid by seeing the transformation of the lives. And the same thing with my brothers and sisters on this panel and the ones who are not here with us today. They get a thrill and they're rich in the blessings of seeing the transformation of people. Right. So, when I seen and felt the realness through the phone, and that first phone call, they said, just be yourself. I don't know how to be anything but myself, so it was like, man, I'm in the right spot then. Because I'm not going to be something that you guys want me to look like. I'm not going to dress up and be your guys' clown, your mascot, here, go do this. We're not like that. Hey, we're real folks. We've been through it, and I love Marcus for this. Hey, bro, you can't tell me anything. I'm the slickest, rickest man in the earth. Man, I did it all. So what you guys are trying to sell me, I ain't buying. And it's real. And he said, you do not know what's on this side until you're on this side. Right. So when he would say that, now that being on this side is real, because like I said, when I was in there, I had this planned out. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You come home, didn't happen. One of the examples where I know Naya got mad a little bit. Ricky was mad at me because I said I had a place to stay at. And so we passed the housing part. So the transitional housing, where can you go? And I'm thinking, hey, there's one person do it. Once I let the person know, hey, parole comes to the house, it got real. Oh, I don't know about that. I'll think about it. I'm like 2 months to a month ready coming home. So writing these transitional housing, you're not going to get, by the time I get a response, I'll already be gone. So it was going through this, and with that little left turn, it implements the stability now for the new mentees. Hey, regardless if you have this spot or you have these secure, still go from A to Z. Because when you have the A to Z, you don't got to worry about nothing. Because if this disappointment comes, hey, you got another backup. And that's what RCA has done for me, was allow me to build these skills and at the same time be mindful. There's nothing wrong with having more than one plan. And not just to settle in on one target and that's it and think everything's kosher. And then when it's there, we panic. And when we panic, we fight, we run. We don't know what to do, a chicken without its head. So that's where RCA comes in. And I'm glad that I actually got to meet them through Phil, because Phil, is a crazy story, was Ricky was his TA inside prison. So when Ricky was incarcerated, Phil was a new teacher on the scene. And Ricky pretty much put him on the scene of, hey, this is how you run the class, this is how it goes. So he was instructing the teacher, and then they build their relationship and bond, and then now he's giving back to Ricky by, hey, here's these men. And while inside there, when I had asked him, what can I do? He's like, hey, brother, I'm going to send you a magazine. When I send you this magazine, start pushing it to everybody. Show everybody the RCA magazine. First person to show was Phil. He seen it. He was like, man, this is good quality. I remember when he was talking about this. Excuse my accent. He don't really sound like that. So, hey, Phil, if you see this, when you do, man, I apologize, man. I apologize, my brother. But, is the fact that he was just very, surprised, the quality, the dynamic of the information that Ricky put inside there, because it had a cognitive behavior section on it. It had emotional intelligence section in there. It has stories of people who were incarcerated, formerly incarcerated, came out and showing their success, what that looks like. There was sections of how to reach out within the community inside the magazine and how to be a part of it as well. So, and then they even have a section for if you want to go through the mentorship program, they have applications in the magazine, so you're able to fill that out. So when I'm showing these magazines, everybody wanted that one application. I'm like, man, I only got one. I can't get this to y'all. But I'll figure out a way on how to get it inside here. So, and that's exactly where it came. I got to Ricky, hey, man, how do I get this up inside here? People are asking for applications. And he was like, he goes, give me a little bit and I'll come back. So I'm like, okay. He comes back, he goes, hey, can you go and talk with the librarian? See if we could get the magazines donated inside there, however we can get it inside. They buy them, however we could get it up in there. I'm like, okay. So I started doing that before I left. Right before I left, I was implementing this inside the prison, and now everybody inside, and I can't say everybody, so let me rephrase that. A lot of people are taking to this. Applications from where I left it inside with Phil in his class. I put it in the library inside there. I put it in the education section, and I put it in the gym where they have their ISUDT classes, and people just go in there for recreation use as well. When they in there, they had a form, so pretty much put RCA all through there, and then like I have a lot of family members and friends who are still incarcerated. So when I talk to them, I give them the spill of it and trying to see like, hey, if you guys interested, so I could try to get it into the prisons where they're at if it's already not there. But that's how I got connected with RCA.
Yeah, he's working.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This is my nephew, you guys. That's Buddy.
Thank y'all for y'all story, and it was empowering. I have a question. What are like one or two things that y'all feel like, based off y'all experience and entering society, what are like one or two things that y'all feel as someone should take when entering society, as far as in just like, so like dealing with anxiety, like mental health, or anything like that, like just engaging or anything like that? Like, what are some necessary steps that people should take before actually engaging with society and dealing with like social, like things of that nature? Like, what are some steps?
I'm gonna give you two, and the first one is you have to cleanse, right, the prison mentality, right? Because a lot of times, some stuff that you learn there can be good. All things in life have duality. They have their positive and their negative. So there are some positive things that you can learn. But you have to cleanse a lot of that mentality and get rid of it, because you will bring that stuff home, and it's not good for you. It's not good for your family, and it will ruin you. It will destroy you, because it's not really. It's really only there for survival in that place. But those same rules in there don't apply to out here. For a quick example, right? And I'm not saying yay, nay, indifferent. We understand how things go. But somebody committed a specific type of crime, right? And on the inside, it's like, oh, no, we don't mess with them type of people. Them type of people out of pocket. Matter of fact, I'm going to bust your head, right? And then you come out here, and this is your coworker, or this is your boss. See, things or you are over a facility that you have to care for that individual and be equal and fair with that type of individual, right? So you have to, in order to stay out here, right, and prosper out here, you have to let that mentality go. Because if you hold on to that, it will destroy you. The other people, they're going to go on with their lives, but you will be destroyed by your own thinking. Second of all, right? One of the things that are very, very important to me and I hold near and dear, especially for people returning back into society, is financial literacy. Education first and foremost, but financial literacy. We live in a capitalistic society all over the world. Everything is about money. We commit crimes. We do all type of heinous things. We hold our tongue. We don't talk to the boss crazy because he ultimately is the reason we get in the check. If I talk to him crazy, I lose the job. I can't take care of my family, right? So you have to start to understand how money works. You have to start to understand finances in itself, right? And then you have the ability to put yourself in a totally different situation. Man, I've been home about a year. Now, I don't know too many people who have accomplished some of the things that I've accomplished, you know, and I'm what you call a stomp down, not anymore, but at that time, a stomp down criminal. Like, that's my mentality. I'm on that 100%, though I'm not at this point in time, right? But I've done a lot of things in the streets, drugs, doing all type of stuff, right, as far as making money. And none of those things that I ever done made me 100K in 8 days. But I accomplished that feat, right, from the things that I learned in prison. So the studying I've done put me in a position to make 100K in 8 days. I don't know anybody else, and I know dudes that get a lot of money, but I don't know nobody else that did that. And I ain't break no law. I ain't commit a crime. I ain't hurt nobody. None of that.
Get along, bro. Let me get along.
You know, none of that. And so it's important to be able to understand that is important, because what you know, right, has the ability to take you further in life. It'll make you prosper. So those two things are important, man. Get rid of that stinking thinking. That prison stuff, excuse my language, that prison shit is some bullshit, man.
Yeah.
You holding on to it. It works in there for your survival. But when you get out here, the rules are different. So you can say what you want, feel how you feel. I know I'm stand up. You can check my paperwork. It's all over the internet. Yeah, I'm one of him. You ain't got to worry about no shenanigans with me. So this ain't coming from some fake fugazi type of dude. This coming from him. Them rules, you ain't gonna survive out here with them.
No, they're gonna take you out. But like the main thing, as far as on what you're saying, as far as the mentality, the depression is real. That's why we have a non-clinical health group on Sundays, so we can have that conversation with each other, and it's no big eyes and no U's. We can really be able to have that conversation, and nobody's holding it against you. The reason the majority of these people are having a problem because they don't have nobody to talk to. You know what I mean? Without people looking at them a certain way. You know what I mean? We're gonna bring it to the table, man. This is what it is. Because we could talk, we amongst our people, so we can have this conversation. This is why RCA is so strong for us. Because when we down, we can go sit at the table and be like, man, it's ugly right now. What's going on, bro? Tell me what it is. And we're not gonna hold. We're trying to find you some answers. You know, that's the thing about it. And it's like being in prison, you bring home a lot of trauma. You know what I mean? You're bringing home these anxieties, you know what I mean? But it's hard, like the brother say, you got to shake that, and it takes years to do that. And some of it saves your life here and in there. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to move them pieces around, but you got to be around people that's going to allow you to be able to give you the right answers for you to be able to say, okay, this is how you shift that. Because you can't come to us and tell us no anything. Because if you don't give us the clear story of what you got going on, it's no way we're going to be able to help you. You know what I mean? If you're still trying to hide pieces and all that, hey, man, the game going to expose you, man. It is what it is. You know what I mean? We're here to give you what you're asking for. You know what I mean? And that's the main thing about RCA, us to be to have that safe space. They use these words, safe space. It's a real space where you can have that, your partner going to check you about something, but not in a way that's belittling you. Hey, man, hold on, man. Stand up, man. Straighten that crown on, bro. You good. You straight. You know what I mean? Sister, put that crown on. You good. We got you. You know what I mean? These are the conversations we having, and we understand that that prison mentality and that depression and all that anxiety that comes with being free. It's hard out here, man. It's hard out here. You know what I mean? It's like I always say, life keep life, and it's something getting through at us every day, all day. You know what I mean? But it's like he talk about his mom. She talk about her mom. Them is the stablest people we ever had in our whole life, or our grandparents. You know what I mean? Strong women, the stables. And it's like, man, she did everything under the sun. Some things you know of and some things you don't know of. Why you still had that roof on top of your head. You know what I mean? She didn't carry the weight. You know what I mean? And for us, it's like, man, to respect that, give our kids the tools that they need to be better parents, not saying be better than me, but to understand what this world is serving them, you know what I mean? And equip these kids with the information that we got. Because we know, understand me, they in a terrible time right now. You know what I mean? But it's like also, we like, man, I can't be holding you. You didn't been out 17 times. That's why we vet people. That's why we have applications. So when we get on the phone, yeah, man, dude, running game, man. We don't got time for that. You know what I mean? You put the work in, we gonna cover the rest of it. We know what it look like. You remember be like, oh, y'all judge. Oh, we can judge. You give me the opportunity to judge you. For sure, I'm judging you. All of us is working people. We got families and everything, man. We taking our time out. We don't get paid to do this. We coming out here because this is what we love to do. You know what I mean? And it's like, when we know cats in jail, man, we running game. It's like, we'll send somebody some money to go to the store. Somebody tell, oh, man, they sending cats money to go to the store. Yeah, you jump on there popping your whip with me, understand me? I'm exposure. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? And that's just what it is. And it's like, when you don't want to be held accountable for what you're doing, then therefore you don't want no growth. And we don't got time for it. Right. You know what I mean? I didn't fail. I didn't slip and fell. I stayed in somebody's jailhouse. You know what I mean? Slipped and fell. Had every piece. I had every piece you can imagine. When cats are sitting up in prison, I got the wife, the kids, the fam. I got everything. I ain't missed a visit. I ain't missed a family visit in 10 years. And I come home and fumble the ball because I didn't have a conversation with myself. You know what I mean? I had all the pieces you need to win. I was popping my thing. My wife would tell you, we selling wolf tickets. You know what I mean? Until I seen that pain that I inflicted on my family. So it was like, okay, oh, I don't want to see that look no more. And I've been out for 18 years. Right. You know what I mean? So I had to have a conversation with ourselves. The majority of cats in prison don't have that conversation with themselves unless you're doing life. Then you got to figure out, you got to do everything that people tell you to do to get out. You really working on yourself. Us who got a date, I'm going to commend him because I sat up in there like this for 10. I had every luxury you could imagine. I didn't work on myself. I was ever working on everybody else around me. You know what I mean? Getting them to make sure they hold me up. That's why I wrote my book. I gave my wife all the game. Just in case I get to slipping, here you go. Just go. You know what I mean? I need you to look at this. You'll be able to see what it is that I'm doing. You know, I was trying to give her all the game so she'll see me before it happened. If that motherfucker doing this what he got going on. And then you can call me on my bull. You know what I mean? That's why I wrote my book. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why I wrote it. But she, you know her. Yeah. Look, you see that look. Look at right. Yeah. But yeah, it's all about the conversation you're having with yourself, man, and understanding it's a process. And it's like this young man, he did the work. Right. And you could see it. He gonna have struggles ahead of him, for sure. But he got us to be like, hey, man, what is that? And I'm gonna say 98% of the time we gonna have the answers because there's so many of us. Right. We all got different pair of shoes we walked in. Just bring it to the table. We're gonna be to have a conversation about it.
I just want to piggyback on Marcus. Like, we have the RCA meeting on Sundays from 4 to 6. Man, and it was hard for me to cry in front of men. It's mostly all men. But I done cried about my mom. I done cried about Kareem. I done cried. And they listen and they give me advice. I don't get no attitude. It could be constructive advice or anything, but I don't get an attitude. I welcome all constructive criticism. Like, they done helped me a lot with the advice because I don't know everything. I don't pretend like I know everything, you know, because you're going to hear somebody's story that's going to resonate with you. And it's like, oh, okay, he went through that. But it's a good meeting, you know. And, of course, it's for the lifers mainly or people coming out of penitentiary, but it's for everybody, really. You know, you can learn so much from this panel alone. And far as, Buddy, what you said about coming home, I would say coming back into society, because you're going to be busy working on yourself first. You know, getting your ID, getting your license, trying to get a job, blah, blah, blah. But try to hook up also with community-based organizations and a case manager, especially if you're trying to look for housing. hook up with a case manager, because they could probably get it faster than you. Sign up with all these mayor of housing things, Section 8, and everything you could. Sign up for everything you got coming to you, and work and start working on yourself. Because in order for you to be stable, you got to have some type of housing that you can, and then you can work on everything else. Because you're not going to be right until you have some type of housing where you can be stable. And then you can start, oh, I could do this now, I could do this, I could do that. So, yeah.
Man, I'm going through that right now. So you get in there more live and direct right now, because the housing is really the stable thing. Staying with family, it could be one thing, but having your own spot, because mind you, when you were in prison, right, or even county jail, you share space.
Right.
And when you sharing that space, it comes with the line of respect as well. So they could be something where I leave this water bottle right here, and you come in fresh out, just like, you ain't gonna pick this up? Like, what you think? You think I'm your slave? I'm gonna do this for you? And inside that, you ain't gonna do all that. If you got a Sally you living with, you guys are gonna accommodate each other by cleaning up after each other. Not after each other, but like, hey, this is my mess. I'm cleaning mine up. Hey, this your okay. Hey, you going to class? Whatever you're doing, okay, don't trip. I'll clean up right now. You know what I'm saying? And then you guys alter. You guys have your little days where you guys alter things. But when you have your own place, you have your own platform, right? So if you have a cell to yourself, it's like you have your own little studio in a sense, right? So I lucked in by by being single cell. So I know what it's like to live with somebody, and I know what it's like to be in that little confined space, right? Little small space with somebody and without somebody. And I could tell you right now, man, when you by yourself, you really have your own mindset. Coming home now, you got to find that space for yourself. So that's what I do. I like to be alone. Don't get me wrong, I love everybody, but at the same time, I like being by myself. I've been by myself for that time, like physically by myself. Now, emotional support, mental support and all that, I have people there. So I know how to have that in a distance, but when it's right here, like in front of me, I'm like, nah, I need to back up. Like, back up because I need my breathing right now. I need to breathe, debrief myself, go over what am I doing today, what's effective, what is not effective. So I would say for your question, when someone's returning, if you really doing the work inside there and working on yourself, bring that same strategy outside. And when you out here, you literally have countless space, meaning I'm pretty sure you could go upstairs somewhere in this library and you could find somewhere where you could be by yourself where no one's going to disturb you. You had the same thing if you were in your house, if you don't want to be in the room, you could walk down the street to the park and sit at a bench by yourself and just debrief and kind of go over what is going on, what is my plan, what are my strategies. And then if you have any questions, you call your support system. The people who are there for you that really care about you, that's who you go and you reach out to. And there's some that care about you, but if you give them that burden, they're going to worry. So then it's like, I don't want to put them on this stress because it's not a stressful situation for me. It's just I'm looking for some answers. I have questions. I'm just looking for answers. And sometimes they'll give you an answer that's not. So look for the people that could really help answer your question the correct way or give you advice the way it is, and just be open-minded and just take your time. Honestly, take your time. And that's what I loved about hearing this from Marcus on those Sunday meetings. Hey, little Brett. Yeah, what's up? You got all the time in the world, you're home. Doesn't matter if it takes 20 years. Don't matter if it takes 5. You got all the time as long as you're free. And when you're free, you can make it happen. So once you're already here, it's not about playing catch up because there ain't nothing to catch up on. If you, like yesterday, can you catch up on yesterday? You can't. So whatever yesterday was, that was yesterday. Today is today. You could better yourself and just take your time. And that's really what I'll say is patience and just accepting your situation and knowing that this ain't it. Like, just because I'm here right now with nothing in my pocket don't mean I'm always going to be nothing within my pocket. It's just take your time. Like, don't feel rushed. Be patient. Your time will come. And when your time does come, you going to know. You know what I'm saying? If you did it one time before, you could do it again. And that's the resilience is, hey, it's hard. I'm starting off at the bottom, but I could get through it. If you could get through prison, and you could get through it out here. And even if you haven't been through prison and you've been through a hardship in your own life that might have put you down in the grave and the floor and where you like, man, I give up, I don't want to do nothing, and you found some type of drive to overcome and outcome that, you can overcome anything as well. You know, don't just, like, I remember there was a guy, I'll give you real quick. He was in there for some false allegations of, what was it? A domestic violence. He had just came home. His kid's mom called the police, said he hit her or something like that, put him right back in. I'm going to trial for a murder case. So he's over here talking to me. We cross from each other, talking through the little windows and all that. And when he asked, hey, what are you going to try for? When I told him, he goes, oh, man, you don't want to hear my stuff, man. It got no value. Like, man, I'm about to be home probably in a couple days or something. You, man, who know? I was like, nah, brother. I go, it doesn't matter if you're in here for a day. It doesn't matter if you're in here for 10 years or life. This is a life sentence for you because you're taken away. You're being affected. So when you come home, it's, hey, stay away from her. Go to the course and go focus this way. You know, it's realizing and really, it's really mine. It's always with your thoughts. That's how it works for me, is your thoughts. Don't react off your emotions. React off your thoughts. Because your thoughts is going to let you know, I've done this before. Where's this going to lead me? I haven't done this, but is it going to lead me somewhere I've already been, or is it going to, what's the new outcome of it? You always want to look for, like I said, the wisest outcome. I go for the wisest because the wisest is always guided with wisdom. Wisdom is going to come from somebody. So you're going to somebody, or you're going to see like, hey, I done this. This didn't work. If people, I never been in and out, so I can't reflect on, hey, I got out, I did this much time out free, and then I went back in. Nah, this was my first rodeo. So having this first rodeo like this, it was, I'm out here. I'm not trying to go back. So my mind is, that's taking me back to prison. I'm not going back there. This lady who was my parole officer, she could put me back in at any time. This is the only lady who got more control over me than my mom. She got more control over me than everybody. I'm still CDC property. So when you have that in your mindset, you come home like, hey, you're free, but you're really not free because you're still part of the system. You're still part of CDC. When you're off parole, then that's when you're free. Till then, you're out of bounds. It's broader. It's 50 miles. So you have that 50-mile stretch. That's your out of bounds. If you go past that, you know you're out of bounds. You already know the situation. It could be a violation. You could be going back 10 days turn 90 days. And if you're a lifer and you came out, you could go back in, and it's up to them if they want to let you out or not, because it's like you didn't get it. So it's just the mindfulness and just the timing, just patience. That's what I would say. The big thing to take from it when you come home is just be patient. Everything will come.
With that being the case, we appreciate you all for coming out. I appreciate each and every one of these speakers and these presenters. They all did a wonderful job. If we can give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. And we are going to call Miss Rachel back up to close us out.
Thank you guys for all your stories.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
That's right.
Thank you, everybody here, for being part of this. It's always a really special afternoon to spend with Returning Citizens Association. And welcome home, Jose.
Thank you.
And we will be in touch. If you've signed up please sign up if you haven't already on the Returning Citizens Association sign-in sheet over there, just so they have their numbers of who attended. And they can contact you about upcoming events in the Bay Area.
That's right.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Rachel.
Rachel.
Thank you.